I was just thinking, is it hard for your neck? Because you always got to like somewhat turn around to talk to me. Is it more handy if I sit up?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
The thing is that mostly it's more natural for us to be at the same level, because otherwise you look tiny compared to me.
I am tiny though compared to you.
Well, I'll just sit like this and.
Whoa, that's really odd. I'm not sure how I feel about
It's
this.
crazy how much that small difference makes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
We can make it even worse. I'm already at the minimum.
Okay.
This doesn't work.
I can lift myself up.
No, actually, it's better if both of us slide forward so I can reach the keyboard. Even though then we're only half in screen.
Okay.
So the players are now looking at each other's decks.
Yeah.
Because, well, we put part of the decks on coverage, and it wouldn't be really fair to the people that had a short and awkward interaction or got to hide some of their cards compared to people.
It's awkward, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Braggy Track, welcome to the longboat. Grab an oar and join the adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to make a button out of that.
Oh, that would be handy.
You can make your own buttons on the website.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't need to just go like, wow.
I used to love that, but now it's sort of tragic, right? Since he died. He's dead, right?
Yes.
He's dead, right? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
That'd be so awkward. He's dead, right? No, he lives next door.
He lives next door. He's been living in Ghent all along. Oh, and actually,
it's Ariston. Welcome, Ariston. It's funny how things like all fall together eventually. One day you're killing people together with somebody, the next day they're subscribing or following.
Was this during the time at the Marines?
No, this was when we were apex predators.
Oh, okay.
Silly gaming things.
Yeah. What's up with this?
So you can hear the soundboard that. That's really awkward on screen, by the way.
Okay. So you're playing Apex then?
I play a lot of stuff from time to time.
Okay. Well. So. Okay, so let's talk about the matchup and the
Let's
decks.
talk about it. We have two control gate decks. One of them has 11 counter spells and the other one doesn't.
That's...
I think that...
Yeah. There's so many... I mean, I was talking to someone just before the whole thing because he said he specifically made the deck...
Wait. Ian Koi!
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the longboat. Grab an oar and join the adventure. Whew. Keeping the Wally alive. You were talking to?
Yeah. That's correct. Yes, I was.
You got to resolve the stack first in, last out.
Okay. So, Sander was talking about how he made the deck especially to counter mono red and a gate stack, which this is a gate stack, right?
Yeah.
So, but there was some discussion because I don't quite think Jeskai needs to specifically tech to beat gates. I think it's already, as if you just take sort of a standard Jeskai build, it's already sort of a decent matchup because you have many ways you can seal away. Usually, Sander's gone for more Ixalan's bindings, but you have ways to deal with the giants so they don't come back.
Yeah.
You have ways to deal with the enchantments, the guild summits. Again, Ixalan's binding is a good card for that. But with cards like Ixalan's binding, it's not an overextension in the sense of it's not. The gate deck is putting a lot of energy into playing these very powerful cards, usually as early as possible. Mm-hmm. But your answers are also very low in TMT, so you get to answer them very quickly as well in these control decks, which I think is very important because something like a Ravenous Chupacabra, for example, can be a bit late, whereas a counterspell never is. Like you always have these very early answers to deal with.
Yeah, but the counterspell has to be there.
Yeah, but
also,
not just counterspells, right? So Seal Away, Justice Strike, these sort of typical Jeskai cards.
Yeah. Also, we're into the game. Both players mulligan to 6. and left their cards on top, which is quite relevant. And we see some fanboying happening in the chat already. People supporting Sander, people supporting Jens. And there's a very interesting dynamic here for me personally, where Sander is such a cornerstone of the community, and Jens is somebody who has been involved, like from the outside looking in often, and because of Arena and the leaderboard there, really got pulled in, and it's really interesting to see those people now taking these center stages, and I'm super interested in seeing what kind of influence it will have on the Gentry Open as well. Growth Spiral got countered by Quench, as we are slowly meandering through the early game with these two control decks.
Yeah. Meandering River, very poetically, not a card being played anymore, because you can play Gate now.
Play it.
You play Meandering River? Oh.
I play blue-white.
The Mystic deck, right, yeah.
Murmuring Mystics, yeah. Yes, you know me. I hate playing what's good.
Yeah, that's true.
Then I start winning too much. Oh.
Yeah, terrible.
There's no point. If you're the TO, there's no point in winning. Where's the RAM? I'm looking in the wrong deck list.
Alright, it's gone. It's binding.
I have to switch the deck. I suddenly realize why I can't find cards. It's because the decks are backwards.
What sort of a... Because Law Mage is binding, obviously it's better than these usual sort of arrest type effects because it's flashable.
Yes.
And which is the big thing. But also I was thinking about the second aspect of it, which you can't use activated abilities anymore.
Yeah. Not so relevant.
Not so
currently.
Currently, right, exactly. But something that I can see being interesting in the future.
True.
What was this in the Scarab God era? That would have been...
Ooh. But we had a lot of good answers to Scarab God already. But this would have been a very good addition, even though blue-white wasn't tempo.
That was actually,
aggro, it was the actual best deck.
Yeah.
Secretly, it was Oketra's Monument with blue.
Obviously, I heavily disagree with that, but I get that. But it's very debatable, I think. Yeah. I was talking to this about Yori, is that the fun thing. I think one of the many things to me that makes for a healthy Gentry meta is when you see certain decks that are not played in standard, that are not just sort of weaker versions of standard decks. So like blue-white tokens to me is a good example of that. Which,
we have a lot of that. I mean, when Dinosaurs was a real deck, or even when pure red-green energy aggro was a deck, for us it just was irrelevant in standard.
Didn't you have like Temur Energy in standard at the time?
Temur Energy, yes.
Oh, okay, but not.
But it was a completely different deck.
Okay.
Also, we see Sander very stunted in his development here, while Jens is flooding out the gates.
Yeah, this is very awkward. In usually in Jeskai is that, I mean, the jump your deck makes from 3 mana to 4 mana is just giant because you've got all these. You've got binding, you've got all these draw spells, which are all at 4.
Guild Summit gets syncopated.
No, it does. No, he does it to minimize the draw, right?
Yeah.
It's essentially.
It's just
steal.
Draw 2 less lands. Yeah.
It was a good decision.
And Sander scoops them up, mildly disgusted. It wasn't technically over yet. He had one more turn to live. But drives straight into his sideboard there. And what's he bringing in? I'm curious,
why didn't he bring in the Invoke the Divines in the first place? I'm curious why he didn't do that.
What do you mean?
I guess you wouldn't bring in Invoke the Divine because usually God Summit has already done its worst once it resolves. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the other hand, against Sander, if he gives me a window to play it on turn 3 because he plays a tapped land,
Yeah, that makes sense as well. Yeah.
I'm playing it like that and having all my lands cantrip from then on. That's
But even then, in his turn, playing the Invoked Divine is still not that comfortable, right? Because then he has to tap out again.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it makes sense, right?
Oh, he just added a few cards. I think the
Is the-
Invoke the Divine might be part of it.
I hope he's taking. Is he bringing in those Gates Ablaze, or is he taking them out?
I think
Taking
he's
them out
taking them
would be
out.
very logical, but this is.
So what creatures does Jans have? He has 3 Gate Colossus, 4 Gatebreaker Rams, 1 Hydroid Krasis. With just the Law Mage's Binding and the Excellence Binding is what I would leave in to
Yeah.
deal with that. But how many Excellence Bindings does he
He plays
actually
4.
have? Here,
And
Excellence
they're
Binding
all
4
great.
and 3 Law Mage's Binding.
They're all great.
He's also bringing in Gate Colossi of his own.
That's interesting.
And then for Jens's sideboard, we have Naturalized, doesn't really do...
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anything?
It takes away the Excellence Bindings,
Oh,
which I think
yeah.
you have to, because one of the easiest ways to win against Gates is you just cast an Excellence Binding on a Colossus and one on a Gatebreaker Ram, and you just win the game because there's
Yeah.
no way they can even kill you anymore.
Yeah, so
Maybe
Naturalized
usually, right?
coming in, Negate probably coming in, the Syncopate coming in,
Yeah, maybe the Syncopate.
maybe the Essence Scatter,
Mm,
but I don't
probably
really
not.
like it. But what do you take out for that? 4 Gates Ablaze?
Again, I don't like the Open the Gates. I always want to take them out when I look at this deck list.
Open the Gates is the 1 mana
The
one,
1 mana.
right? Yeah.
I mean, I get why you're playing it. It's like 1 mana, draw a card. If you've got a Summit out, it's 1 mana, draw 2 cards. You go. I mean, I get that, but
In the meantime, the chat's somehow trying to badmouth me that I have fallen so far, and then somebody else confusing that for a question. All right,
but in the end,
it doesn't really matter.
exactly, yes.
What do I have here?
Alright. I actually had a conversation with Alan about this,
Mm-hmm.
who actually did tell me that Linkin Park is actually quite an interesting band, which is full of rage, and I learned a lot about music that day. So
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of Linkin Park. I
Yeah,
even
Linkin
saw them
too.
live, which
Ooh.
is super awkward.
yeah,
Yeah, because they're electronic based. So you have like one guy
Yeah,
with
but-
this synthesizer thingy, and
I don't mean to sound tragic, but did you see them recently or in the past?
2005,
Oh, so when
the real Linkin Park.
the real Linkin Park, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so when what's his name? Chad. His name's Chad, probably. What's his name? No, it's not Chad. Chad's the name, the guy from Nickelback. What's the main, the sort of the singer
dead
from-
guy.
the dead, yeah, exactly. I was trying to go around it, yeah, Neil's the dead guy.
I'm not sure. I don't know bands like that. I know Chester. Yeah.
Chester, exactly, Chester. Who's Chad? I'm pretty sure there's like a new metal band.
The Chad.
The Chad. It's from the meme, like the Virgin and the Chad.
Chester Bennington. Yeah.
Mm.
Or Chester.
Chester.
It depends on
That's
the
Yeah,
pronunciation.
it's his Jewish name.
Chad Smith drums in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Well, we're learning tons of stuff.
Wow.
here. See,
So
this,
there is a Chad, after all.
This is how you survive the early turns of a control match. you talk about Chesters and Chads.
You talk about Chad with Chad.
Yeah, and chimichangas. Wait, what?
Right. So sounded very expertly flashing his cards to the camera there.
So, but let's actually
Yeah.
talk about these decks, because Gates in whatever form that you're playing, has been a very strong core to the metagame right now.
Exactly.
And like we've seen
You've
here,
already got it.
right?
Yeah.
And like we've seen here, that core is very flexible,
Exactly.
right? The core we're talking about here is the fact that Gates Ablaze
Gates Colossus even, like a single one of them maybe.
Yeah. Is sort of this package. Well, just Gates Ablaze and a bunch of land that comes into play tapped are a package that gives you a sweeper effect, which you usually need to go into rare cards for. And that makes gate-based control decks with red such a strong player in the format right now.
Exactly.
And the interesting part to this is people haven't figured out what and if there is a best version of it at this point. I mean, we have Sander here taking a Jeskai approach that is very reminiscent of very classical control decks. We've seen Taze and who was Taze again? Against you, sorry. Taze and you playing this Wilderness Reclamation version while negate gets negated, so the Guild Summit resolves. So we saw you playing...
but this is actually, as Sander, you quite don't mind this, because then you get to do this, which is much better. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we have the Wilderness Reclamation instance craziness with Nexus of Fate that you had going, and then you have these 4-color control builds that are...
Yes, so the super interesting thing about... Because it creates this very interesting dynamic, because Gates Ablaze, as we talked about, is just an amazing card against most aggro, mid-range, those kinds of decks. There's one deck it's pretty bad against, and that's other gate decks. Not only other control gate decks, but just decks that run Gate Colossus and Gatebreaker around. Because usually those are too big to get sweeps.
Yeah.
By the time you want to play Gates Ablaze. So it creates this very interesting thing where you want to have,
these are some swing turns. Very true. I'm loving it. So Vivian Reed gets answered by another Excellence Binding. And I'm not sure how the original Excellence Binding left. I think it was natural. Oh, Vivian Reed removes it. Yeah, Vivian does it herself. Yeah, so any of these actions, had they not have happened, would have left us with a completely, utterly different game state at this point.
Yeah.
Like having that Vivian active on the board, or having an Excellence Binding remain on a Guild Summit. Just a completely different game that we've going. That said, we now have Sander on 5 lands, getting a Search for Ascanta.
Getting a search, and I think
bringing him back, because
I think he had a Teferi there and chose not to play it, right? Or is that not a Teferi?
But he's also up against double Guild Summit, 2 lands more on Jans. So not looking all too bright on the side of Sander. He gets his Search for Ascanta, but he only has 2 cards in the graveyard, so that's going to be some card selection for him while he's fighting against Jens, who is most likely drawing 2 cards per turn. Not exactly. I forgot about Growth Spirals.
Yeah, Growth Spirals.
Make that 5 cards per turn. Yeah, that in the fairness meter is shifting over to Jens's side.
Jens's.
Very important.
The interesting thing, though, about the deck as Jens is playing it is he's playing Naturalize, which is, if he brought it in, right? He's chosen to go for Naturalize instead of the, I would argue, more popular Crushing Canopy.
Yeah.
Which makes somewhat of a difference, because it means I don't think he has an answer to Niv Mizzet should it resolve.
Good point.
So there is always that out.
So we had an Essence Scatter on Gate Colossus, but because Jens has such a mana advantage as well. He just throws out the Gatebreaker Ram the same turn.
Yeah.
And that Gatebreaker Ram is at 2-hit kill level at this point.
Well, let's count them. 5, 6, 7? 7, right?
8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Yeah, so 9, 9.
So it's not yet.
No. Yeah, and we have Sphinxes
Yeah.
inside, hiding in Sander's hand. So Sander's in his upkeep, and Jens is explaining something. So let's hope that we don't have crazy things happening. So in the meantime, let's have a look at our list of viewers. Do we have somebody we need to welcome? Alan Coy as the new follower.
Did he take the card now or no? I looked away for a second and I missed it.
He took it.
Okay.
Yeah. We have DBMP, welcome. Joby Essen, welcome. Do we have any other new people hanging out? No. Okay. 29 viewers. We hit 42 earlier. Come on, people.
Yeah.
So, Sander still fighting the uphill battle. He's also 1 game down, don't forget. So,
right, exactly. Yeah.
Jens is doing a lot of gate counting. Thinks he has the 2-hit kill here, of course. Oh no, forgot about the binding. Never mind. It's so confusing. You have Excellence binding, Law Mage's binding, Chemister's Insight, Sphinx's Insight.
Yeah.
Like,
if only it were Law Mage's Insight, then we'd be.
So
there's
that's a naturalize.
Yeah. Oh, that's so brutal. Because now he can get either remove the Law Mage's bind and immediately swing him at the ram.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh yeah, because it's not coming back from exile.
Woo.
Swinging for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
10 probably.
7, 8. Yeah, swinging for 10. Good. So half your life. Sander has, like I said, the Sphinx's Insight in hand, which technically. Wow. Okay, never mind.
That's gone.
Like now the Sphinx's
now
the Sphinx's Insight doesn't even buy him extra time anymore. Jens firing off a shimmer, but I think we see a foreshadowing of the shimmer of possible wins for Sander, fading away like a Fata Morgana during a rainstorm.
It's actually, I can't help but try and think, should Sander lose this game, what will happen in the coming rounds? Just sort of, I know that's not
sure.
But I think it's quite interesting because it's I would be interested to see how a deck like this fares against one of the combo decks, either Lars or Tess.
Yeah.
In my experience, that is actually quite a difficult matchup to win for the Gate deck because it has. But there can be turns where if the Gate deck sort of the Nexus deck sort of fumbles and gets hit for like 32 damage because of 3 Gate breaker rams, something like that, then you're done. But generally, it makes for an interesting matchup.
Oh,
yeah,
that's actually close to the perfect top deck here. Invoke the Divine, gets rid of the Gate Colossus, pushes his life total out of kill range, but we have a negate and a concession. The handshake. Sander gets 0-2 swept out of the Invitational, even though he thought he had a really good matchup here, and he probably did. But that mana really decided the outcome of this match.
Twice really, because the last time.
Yeah, Motsa as well.
It was on 3.
Motsa
Oh yeah, that too. But
Yeah.
I meant in
Games,
this game
yeah,
specifically.
both
But-
games
but- yeah,
were
exactly.
decided by mana here. Motz's were
Matt's as well.
both decided on a flood, in part, which is really unfortunate. So
So
that means we have. Let's take a look at the bracket in the back. We'll be going to Lars versus Thijs as Jens secures his spot. Jens secures his spot in the final. So Jens again, the outsider, the champion of the technological realm, the current leader of the arena leaderboard, comes in, sends home a bunch of people, amongst which Sander, who metagamed his deck to beat exactly what Jens brought to the table.
But again, we should add that Sander teched against. Well, he'll tell him himself in a second. But he teched against his optimal version of a gate deck, which is not necessarily always the gate deck that people are actually playing, which is obviously a point you have to make.
That is a very fair assessment. That's what you get if you start testing with a small group and you're testing really intensely, is that you get this inbred perception of what the meta game should look like or looks like.
Right, yeah, that it's really right. That is a classical philosophical problem, really, Niels, of an sort of the is versus the ought. David Hume talked about, right? Isn't it? The analysis versus the normative.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an interesting concept here. We'll have Sander coming in
I'll
soon-ish.
in a
Yeah,
second.
they already left their seat. So through that door, any moment now, Sander shall appear.
I'm not leaving till he shows up though.
Squeezing all the camera time
exactly.
he can get. All for you, dear viewer, you happy
Precisely.
Vikings and devoted squires of the... There we go, a knock to
That's my
liberate us. Sander, welcome. Again, reminder, what's out for the cables?
Hey, GG, Matt.
Oh, so that's
Hello.
that's the second match in a row that gets decided by mana.
Basically.
Yeah.
Though, to be fair, it is a very difficult matchup. Like, game 1 is winnable, especially when, like, Jens is only running 2 negates and 0 spell pierces, so that's winnable.
Yeah.
But once the extra negates come in after side, any number of naturalizes that he needs, it gets really difficult.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that many hard counter spells and he out-manas me very quickly. So I need to basically go in Ixalan's Binding, a Ram, and or a Colossus, and then protect those Ixalan's Bindings, which is, as you saw in game 2, where he goes Gate Colossus, I counter that to get the Ram out, to be able to Binding the Ram.
Yeah.
And then I just have to hope he doesn't have a removal spell for the Binding, but Vivian came out, and that was the end.
Yeah, Vivian very impactful,
Yeah.
clearly in this matchup, especially against
Yes.
your enchantment
The
based
4 Ixalan
removal.
Bindings.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which Kobe and me talked about it. It's usually you stick the 2 bindings, lock down their entire victory condition pretty much.
That's
and
the
then,
plan.
Try to win there. I was wondering, he brought in naturalizes.
He brought in 1 naturalize.
Yes, against you instead of crushing canopies.
Yeah, I asked him that as well, but he figured that being cheaper would be more relevant than destroying a flyer, because of the very little amount of flyers he was expecting for today. Basically a couple of infinite visits and that was it. So he figured that he didn't need so I'm basically not talking about Jens's deck instead of
Yeah, sure.
Jens doing this himself, but that's what he said.
I found it interesting. I was wondering how, like, your Niv Mizzet was a lot safer because you saw
the natural
there's no
inside.
crushing canopies coming in.
Very true.
So that one was really interesting. So back to your deck. Jeskai Gates.
Just get control.
Yeah, Jeskai control.
I mean, you can call it Gates because I am playing Gates Ablaze 4 across the 75 and 3 Gate Colossuses, but we definitely started out just trying to make Jeskai control.
Yeah.
The only reason why we're playing the Gates Ablaze is because it allows us to play more tap lands, which means a more consistent mana base. And the Gate Colossuses puts a really fast block on decks.
Yeah. No,
It allows you
it
to
does.
stabilize, run mono red out of cards, and start actually beating in without actually having a lot of counter spells left.
I find it very interesting that now that we're in the Guildgate era, that people are just going like, yeah, of course I'm playing 12 lands that come into play tapped.
Yeah.
Where before
Mhm.
we had 3 color control decks, and the standard, at least for me, was to play 2/2 of the comes into play tapped lands and 4
4
evolving
Evolving
wilds.
Wilds.
And a lot of people were like, yeah, it's 10 sources that come into play tapped.
And that's a lot, I know.
And now everybody's just going like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
I'm playing 21 gates.
So you probably already know this, but Dylan Button helped me completely fine-tune and create this deck. He's also a big opponent of playing too many tap lands, so as am I. But Gates Ablaze is what allows you to play 12 tap lands.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You can play 3-4 Gates Ablaze, and it doesn't matter that you lose a turn because on turn 4 you wipe the board anyway.
Because you're playing Uncommon Wrath of God.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that was. Would you say that Gates Ablaze is currently the measuring stick, the cornerstone of the meta game? Because it's sure. If you're looking at this tournament, it sure feels that way. It's either Gates Ablaze or mono red aggro.
While that is definitely what, I mean, you can see that through the decks, but for all the matchups I've played today, I wanted to side out all but one of my Gates Ablazes.
Sure, because Gates Ablaze is bad against other Gates decks.
Yeah, and also against mono red. Both side, definitely you have to get rid of the Gates Ablazes.
Yeah.
You can't cut any of the other cards, you have to get rid of the Gates Ablazes to get in your Healing Graces, your negates.
Yeah, and your point removal that comes even earlier.
Yep.
Because a Viashino
Pyromancer,
Pyromancer that attacks twice is a huge problem. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Sander lost for people in the chat was mana overwhelmed by what Jens was bringing to the table.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Is there anything you want to add before I send you away and we get into the next match?
No, you'll see me when it's the finals. I'll be here to cast with you.
Yeah, perfect. That works for me.
All right.
All right.
Bye.